Hi muckers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all having the best day ever. Thank you so much for clicking on my channel today and on my video. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you being here. My outfit's kind of scandalous today, isn't it? Like, come on, like, without anything underneath. I'm going out later and this is a bit much. I don't know how this is gonna go tonight. We'll see. I mean, easy access to take on and off for a night out, you know what I mean? Ignore I said that. Anyway, today's video, we are going to be talking about Death Noodles, Dennis. Now, a lot of people were commenting on my videos and saying, Adam, has there been any update with Death Noodles, with Dennis? If you don't know, Death Noodles is a drama channel here on YouTube who recently went completely off the rails, and I made a couple videos about him in the moment of talking about what was happening. Basically, he was turning on everyone. He was turning into basically like the worst person ever. And he recently did his comedy roast show, which if you watch my video on it, thank you so much. And if you haven't, I would check that one out. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever made. He has this kind of like tough guy act that he's been doing right now. And I don't think that I need to like explain it much because I feel that we're all aware of Dennis and what has been happening. If you haven't, you can check out those other videos, so we're kind of just gonna continue the conversation as if we never stopped. So, Dennis. The updates that I have for you about Dennis is that he is doing another one of the comedy roast shows. Since the first was such a raving success, you know what I mean? Like, it was a roaring turnout. It was incredible. I'm bullshitting, but like, so he's doing another one, and he said that the reason that the first one wasn't good was because, you know, he was just testing the waters. Actually, that's not even true. He said the reason there were so many problems with it was because he was just testing the waters. But he said that it was really good, and anyone who was just making fun of it were people that were just haters and just looking for something to have a problem with. Now, if you're aware, I actually featured during his little comedy roast show, because he included like an interlude. You know, whenever like a singer's on tour and they have like an interlude where they're doing like a change? So that was him. He had an interlude that was basically trying to make fun of me and Rich Lux. So he was gonna be backstage, this video was gonna play, and it was gonna be like, look at these gay triggered men. And it was me and Rich Lux basically making fun of Dennis, and they were gonna play it, then he was gonna come out and make fun of us, and you know, oh my god, look how triggered they are, and I'm still standing like this. However, that really didn't come to be because there were so many technical difficulties within this show that my clip played during his show like 7 times on loop, interrupting the performance, if you can even call it that people paid for, Jesus, that was happening on stage. And then it kind of just made us look like the best part of the show. Not to sound like egotistical here, but I mean, if you watch the show, I'm pretty sure I can confidently say that that moment was one of the best moments of it. You from Detroit? If you know, you know. No? Okay, so there was that, and now Dennis has not stopped. The reason I have not made videos on this is because it is so tiresome. He really has not stopped with this act on Twitter. Now, I could show you an influx of tweets. It's every single day he is doubling down on claims he's made, on jokes he's made. He is just being offensive on Twitter and then using it in the name of humor, in the name of comedy. And quite recently, he's actually went on the record to say that he wants to murder a couple YouTubers, and he's like going on the record saying this, and this is like in response to like him fighting with like Kavos and stuff like that, and he's like saying that, you know, Kavos should fly out to America so that he can do that to him on the streets, and he can, you know, take him on the streets. And Kavos is like, why wouldn't we just do like a boxing event? Like, if you want to beat the shit out of me so much. So this is all stemming from Dennis being embarrassed by Kavos. Remember, he made that video that was like, Kavos made me want to delete my YouTube channel. So this is what that's stemming from. So he holds on to a grudge. And Kavos is like, if you want to beat the shit out of me so badly, why don't we just do a boxing event? And then Dennis is responding all like angry, being like, you're scared. If you really want to fight, let's come to the street and I'll beat the shit out of you and I'll like end you. It's just like a really angry, pathetic, very insecure man is what this is coming across as. And literally, I can promise you, it has not stopped on Twitter. And I mean, his views are reflecting it. His subscriber loss per day is reflecting it. He's losing thousands of subscribers per week. And you would think at this stage, right, because a lot of people have been saying to me, like, Adam, you haven't talked about him in a while, like, has he, you know, changed or dropped the, you know, the hard boy act that he's been doing? No, this is actually him, I think, at this stage. You know what I mean? He was doing that persona of, like, the kitty cat, you know, in the Minecraft house, and in actuality, I don't even know if I said this, but you know, Dennis has been caught about lying about his age. He, for so long on YouTube, was saying that he was in his 20s. He went on the record with Taylor Lorenz saying that he was in his 20s, and he's actually 37. He's almost actually 40. So there's just so many things that even in the peak of him doing the content that people enjoyed, and you know, in that character, which obviously wasn't him, that was like a near 40-year-old man pretending about everything, pretending to be a completely different person, pretending about his age, and a lot of people were like, why is there an issue with him lying about his age? There's no one really being like, that have like constructive criticism of Dennis, being like, oh, you're old, and that's their criticism of him, because 37 is not old by anything. It's just that he has lied about the fundamental parts of his being online, and now it's all coming crashing down, and his response to that is being aggressive and being like feral online. And the Papa Gut situation, he still hasn't stopped that. During his shows, he was including videos of Papa Gut crying as other interludes, and he thought it was so funny, and I just think that people just do not take him seriously anymore, and I understand that we've already been through that, but I think at this stage, I really was expecting him by now to be like, sorry, I was going through something, but I think that it just kind of makes sense. This is a bitter 37-year-old man who, for so long, was lying about his entire thing to make money. It kind of, you know, fell apart, and people started catching on to it, and it has really collapsed. So I was really interested to hear what y'all had to say, so I actually put on my YouTube community tab, which if you go on my YouTube channel, and then, you know, at the top where it's like videos, playlists, if you go over to community, I post on there all the time asking for feedback with videos and stuff, and you'll normally feature my video if you comment on that, because it's kind of like a conversation we have. I put up and I was like, Muckers, I really want to talk to you. Like, what is your opinion with what is happening with Dennis? Like, I have been harping on and on and on and on and on, like, about so many topics on YouTube, but especially Dennis recently, even on, like, my Twitter and stuff like that. But I was like, I wonder what my audience specifically think about this, because I know a lot of you are Death Noodles fans. I know a lot of you were Death Noodles fans. I know that, you know, we're all the drama channels, and I was really curious to hear what you had to say, and you did not disappoint, so I'm just going to go through order of the most interacted with ones, and we're going to read a couple of them to kind of hear where you have to, you know, lie on this. So starting off with Filthy Casual said, I used to watch Dennis every single morning back when he did Irrelevant News. There was a slow at first decline with his humor, shifting from funny to self-deprecating and poignant sarcasm that simply got increasingly unfunny as time went on. My turning point was his inability to accept that people will be critical of his videos, especially since they're, you know, for the world to see, and he will not take criticism. It's just getting too intense to handle the amount of cringe coming from him and his ego and his yes men surrounding him. So Courtney Coleman said, the thing about Death Noodles is that he gained his audience by providing pop culture news. People watched him for the irrelevant news, not for his personality or his comedy. And again, I'll put my hand up and say that people don't watch me because they care about me as a person. They watch me because of the topics I'm going to bring, and maybe the opinions I have, and I'm completely okay with that. I know my place here in YouTube, and I think that's the difference between a lot of us drama channels and Dennis. We are so accepting of the fact that most of our audience do not care about us. They do not care about us, and that's perfectly okay. They care about what we have to talk about whenever it's news stories they enjoy. That's not even a critical thing of us. That is literally what we are here to do, and we completely understand that. And if someone was to come up to me as a criticism and say, I really don't care about anything you have to, you know, say about yourself, I just want to hear you talk about Trisha Paytas, do you think I would start crying like Dennis does? Do you think I would? No. Do you think Rich Lux? No. Do you think Peter Mon? No. Do you all these different, that is not the case. But with Dennis, people said that, and he started to act in a very erratic way because he was very egotistical, that he was surprised and thought that people were lying, that you're not watching me because I'm talking about Trisha Paytas, which they were. You're watching me because you love me as a person, or that you are you're obsessed with me the same way, you know, you're obsessed with hearing about Trisha Paytas. And that's not the case at all. He was looking at himself like an Ethan Klein, like a YouTuber that people watch because they want to see his day-to-day. And that's, for most of all of our audiences, that's not the case. And you know what? That's completely okay. It's not something that keeps us crying all night. It's literally what we are here to do. But he took it in a very bad way. So this person, Courtney Coleman, is literally saying that we were subscribed to hear the news. We were not subscribed for him. Nobody turned into Irrelevant News because we thought he was funny or witty. They tuned in because he provided a daily service that became a part of a lot of people's daily news intake routines. If my hairdresser tells me one day, I'm closing up the shop, I'm gonna be a comedian now, I'd say, good for you, and I'd find a new hairdresser, and this is a really good comparison. I would say, good luck with being I'm gonna find a new hairdresser, good luck with being a comedian. That's the extent of our relationship. She was providing a service to me that she no longer provides. This is a really, really, really good comparison here. I get the fact that he has a background in comedy, or at least thinks he does, but the fact of the matter is he did not gain his following because of his comedic talent, which is why he's losing so many subscribers and views left, right, and center. That being said, he should not be surprised by the current backlash. He's done a complete 180 on his original content, and on top of that, the new content isn't creative or funny in any way. There was a way that he could have done this transition smoothly without losing a few, 1,000 followers, but only like a few. But I think he's gone too far at this point. Color Queen, by the way, Courtney, that was an amazing comparison. Color Queen said, as a longtime fan of his up until recently, it's been disappointing to say the least. I completely understand wanting to change up content to keep yourself invested, happy, to grow, and I've always wanted the content creator in question to be happy at the end of the day. However, when they're changing for the worst, failing and, falling into, hypocritical, toxic behaviors, not taking needed breaks, and not listening to their audiences or attacking their audiences, even though they genuinely care about them, is when I say I've had enough. I'm at a point where I have just became exhausted with watching Death Noodles, and then I've just had to shut him off. So Teddy said, I had a one-on-one convo with him when he was still in a Minecraft cat phase. He was a totally different person, but again, that was him putting on the character. And a lot of people are like, Dennis is putting on this new character. No, he was putting on a character, and he's now not putting on a character. We weren't conversing for long at all, but it was a separate conversation. He was extremely kind and professional at that time. I wasn't a long-time fan, and I am no longer because of what he's been doing that has been rubbing me in a wrong way. He wasn't his sarcastic personality, he wasn't this, whatever he is now. He was very awesome to chat to at that moment, genuine and happy to respond, and that was when he was in the Minecraft cat phase. I feel that this other persona that he is now putting on is really sad. Neve said, like they said on the Do We Know Him podcast, which is Jesse Smiles' podcast, and it is amazing, I only ever watched his videos because he was always the first person to report on things. So watching him, not for I'm obsessed with you, but I'm obsessed with what you're talking about. And that's okay. The longer the situation has been going on with him, the more utterly bizarre his behavior is getting, and I think he really needs to take some time off to gather himself and potentially look into therapy. He's gone from someone who was a little bit annoying but provided pretty fine content to being utterly unwatchable and totally unbearable. Amber said, it's honestly kind of sad to see what's happening with him. He used to have a good thing going, and it's almost like watching someone sabotage themselves in front of our eyes. I get that YouTube wasn't necessarily what he wanted to do, it was just something he did during the pandemic. But instead of embracing the opportunity, he threw it away. I don't know if he's having a midlife crisis, and I remember people literally saying, months ago, Dennis is having a midlife crisis, and he was like, I'm in my, how would I have a midlife crisis? And then his audience would be like, he's in his 20s, how could he have a midlife crisis? A loser, L, you're taking the L, he's in his 20s. Actually, he's entering his 40s, and normally, if one would have a midlife crisis, it occurs from 30 to 50. So it's quite funny that his fans were like, how dare you say he's having a midlife crisis? He's in his 20s. Because it said everywhere on Google he was in his 20s. In his interviews it said he was in his 20s. To him actually being approaching middle age. Nothing wrong with that. But why are you lying about it? What are you gaining as a YouTuber from lying about your age? I get it if you are a model and lying about your age. I get that. Because modeling is very much so, we love 20-year-olds, we love 30-year-olds. 40, you're old. Which is not the case, but that's the modeling industry. Acting, you don't need to lie about your age if you're acting, which is the excuse he's making. The older you get, you can still play young characters. Look at most Netflix, sitcoms, anything on TV. The bitches playing teenagers are not teenagers in real life. It's about looking a certain age, not being a certain age. So his excuse about I'm an actor and it's bullshit. It is bullshit. That is not the truth. So, L. Anyways, he threw it away. He's being a jerk to his fans and other people and showing his true colors. He's like a train wreck. I can't look away, but it's not gonna end well for his career. Now again, that's the main thing. Like, being a dick to your fan base is so, like, they do not have to support you. You are a drama channel. Do you realize how many drama channels there are? And this goes for me as well. One day, someone can be like, you know what? I'm not into Adam McIntyre's content anymore. I prefer Rich Lux. You know what? I'm not into Rich Lux's content anymore. I prefer Adam McIntyre. You know, I don't like Death Noodles. I prefer Spillsize. You know, I'm not into Spillsize. I prefer Angelica Oles. Like, that happens. People grow, people whatever. So to treat your fans like shit and voluntarily make them leave is so fucking weird, because they're the ones who've paid for your studio, paid for your apartment, paid for, like, come on now. And I get that, like, he's like a nepotism baby or whatever like that, like his parents and like Warner Brothers and stuff like that, but you're making your own money on YouTube, not just because your videos are so great, but because people are choosing to watch them. And at any stage, they can choose to watch anybody else. And I think that's what he forgot, because it's very much so reflecting in his analytics. Ray Rance said, ever since that convo video with Papa God, I think he showed himself for who he truly is. It's really sad. He was funny and I still wish him the best as a human being. However, his YouTube career went down the drain and it's way far past the point now. So, Morgan said, he seems like he's chronically online. Now, I myself would call myself chronically online, but I wouldn't say that I'm chronically online on YouTube anymore. I'm a chronically online person when it comes to, like, Twitter, because I love Twitter. But even at that, the older I get, the more I grow out of that. Dennis tweets when I'm awake, when I'm asleep, when I'm eating, when I'm shitting. Like, he's always online. And there needs to be a conversation of what that does to a person. Being chronically online, as funny as it sounds and stuff like that, and me being like, oh, I'm chronically online with Twitter, the implications that has with someone's mental health is fucking insane. And because it's such a new phenomenon, we really haven't talked about it much, but that is Death Noodles. He's chronically online. Anyways, so I would love to hear your opinion about chronically online, and a lot of you are picking up that he is that. He works pretty much 24/7, and I think that the criticism, whether good or bad, is hurting him more than he wants to admit it. He's proven before that he doesn't handle criticism well, even when he was a React channel. I just think he needs to take a break. Alright, and then we'll go for a couple other ones. So, we'll click on this one from Junebug. I've seen Junebug in the comments for a good couple years. Hi, Junebug. I've seen the red flags with him for a while now. I used to watch him every single morning. I was a big fan up until the addiction jokes at the beginning of the year. It seems to have been a downhill slope for him since then. Comedians don't need to tell people they're funny. Preach it. They're just funny. He also doesn't seem to understand satire and what a joke is. Also, most really funny comedians don't even look at themselves like comedians. They're just funny. So, something to note as well. I just think he's mean and he's trying to gaslight people by calling it humor or jokes. Calling someone a P-word like he did with Papa Gut and telling other people to off themselves, which he did on Twitter recently, which I've just literally been telling you. And he was been doing it the past couple weeks by telling people to find themselves at the end of like a shotgun and stuff like that. Like, he has been actively doing this for weeks now. I don't know why my hand is bent like this, but he's been actively doing that for weeks now. He's not funny and he rarely ever was. So we'll read out one more. So we'll read out this one from Michelle. So Michelle said, he just can't take criticism, Adam. It's as simple as that. It was clear in his roast battle when he said, I'm bombing this and I don't care. He wants to prove that he's right so bad that he threw the battle off too quickly to ever prepare anything, and he clearly didn't communicate to anyone else. Adding all of that up, with everything we know, he gives me the ick and he's not funny. So, very much so an overwhelming majority there within the muckers on the opinions. You can continue the conversation down below. I appreciate you being here. My take on it is just that he's showing his true colors now. The Minecraft was a fake thing, and I don't know. It got too far for me, the Papa Gut situation, and telling your audience to fuck off, because they are what made you have that ego. You know, they built you up, and they got you up to there, and then you just went, woo, 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 woo. And it's not nice. And I think a lot of that probably comes from the fact that he comes from a very well-off family. And I don't mean to bring, like, family into it, so I'm not gonna focus on that. But I think it's a pretty good thing to state that, you know, his father is, like, big in Warner Brothers and stuff like that. And it's like, I guess, you know, maybe he grew up and expected to be popular or something like that. And that's not me getting into the family stuff. That's literally just me saying, like, from what we know online. So, let me know your take on this. I love you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your time, and I will see you in my next one, and bye. Mwah!